All right, got it. Okay. Right. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome again to our weekly meeting, Sunday meeting for another Saleh Nur Khalaqa. Another just getting together and reading. We're going to continue again where we left off from 20th letter. We left at 10th phrase, and I would like to just quickly remind where we are reading from 20th letter. بسم الله سبحانه ومن شيء لا يسبح بحمده بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير وإليه المصير. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, there is no God but God. He is one, He has no partner, He is the dominion, and He is the praise. He alone grants life and deals death, and He is living and dies not. All good is in His hand. He is powerful over all things, and with Him all things have their end. Inshallah. So this is the part that we're reading from 20th letter. So we finished up to in the previous weeks, all the way up to 10th, I guess, phrase. We just came in, and last week we finished the first and the second part of this, and we're talking about the divine power and the of course at the beginning. So وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. And this is the one, and He is powerful over all things. We commented on this part, and Ustad Bediüzzaman goes into and divides. Basically, he branches out into 4 or 5 different points, and we finished the first and the second. And inshallah, we would like to dedicate the third for maybe this week. I'm not sure if we can start the fourth one, but let's give it a go. And inshallah, and we have our panelists this week again from England, Colin Turner, and from here in the US, we have Hikmet Abi. Okay, let's begin. The third. The vastest whole is as easy as the smallest part in relation to the power of the all-powerful Maker, who rules in the universe with actions, direction, and disposal that are clearly to be seen. The creation of a universal consisting of a multiplicity of individuals is as easy as the creation of a single particular, and in an insignificant particular, art of the highest worth may be displayed. This mystery and the wisdom in it arise from 3 sources. Firstly, from the assistance of unity, wahidiyat. Secondly, from the facility of unity, wahdat. Thirdly, from the manifestation of oneness, ahadiyat. The assistance of unity, which is the first source, that is, if all things are the property of a single being, then as a result of unity, he can concentrate the power of all things behind any single thing, and all can be administered as easily as one thing. We shall explain this mystery with a comparison in order to make it easier to understand. For example, if a country has a single ruler by reason of the law of his sole sovereignty, wahdati sultanat, he is able to mobilize the moral strength of the whole army behind every single soldier. And because he is able to do this, a single soldier is able to capture a king and have command over him in the name of his monarch. Furthermore, just as the monarch may employ and direct a single soldier and a single official by reason of the mystery of sole sovereignty, he is able to direct the whole army and all his officials. It is as if, by reason of the mystery of sole sovereignty, he is able to send everyone, everything, to the assistance of one individual. Every single individual, therefore, will rely on the combined strength of all the individuals. That is, each will receive assistance from all. If the rope of sole sovereignty were to be unfastened and they become irregular soldiers, then each soldier suddenly, losing a boundless strength, would fall from a high position of influence to that of a common man. And to command and employ them would beget difficulties to the number of individuals. In exactly the same way, and God's is the highest similitude, 1660, since the universe's maker is one, he assembles his names, which look to all things before each single thing, and he creates with infinite art in a valuable way. If there is need for it, he looks to a single thing by means of all things. He causes them to look to it. He gives assistance and strengthens it. Also, by reason of the mystery of unity, he creates, disposes, and administers all things as though they were a single thing. It is due to the mystery of this assistance of unity that in the universe a certain quality is apparent, which is exalted and sublime to the utmost degree as regards its art and value, and this within the utmost abundance and profusion. Okay, and let's stop here, and I'd like to go back to the top where we read. I know that maybe just we read some or maybe just half of it, but I would like to maybe listen one more time, and it would be nice to recap what we discussed from last week, and then of course, I mean, just maybe we can share more of our maybe just gathered thoughts and everything all together. So, and maybe I can start from Colin Rajam and then go back to Hikmet Abi to comments. Colin Rajam?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Maybe Hikmet would like to start this week.
Certainly, yeah, maybe we can let him go.
Abi, no, Colleen, Abi, please, you just start. I wasn't here last week, so I'd like to listen to you first. Thank you, though.
When people say, what's the distinguishing characteristic of Islam, people say, well, God is one.
Mhm,
Everyone knows this. Tawheed is the
mhm,
is what makes Islam stand out. God is one, but it's not enough to say that God is one.
mhm, mhm,
God talks about several components uh, of of unity, such as ahadiyya, wahidiyya, and he
mhm,
uses here wahdat, which is, I think, uh, it gives us the ability to see things holistically. But ahadiyya and wahidiyya are extremely important to understand.
mhm,
One of the most important components of unity is that when you look at a single creation and you look at the harmony and the equilibrium and all of the perfections that it exhibits, and it's also its uniqueness, you
mhm,
realize that its creator is ahad, its creator is also unique. But not just unique, the creator is actually engaged with that creation at that moment. And
mhm,
then when you look at similar creations, if we can use maybe a snowflake again as an example,
mhm,
you see that every snowflake is unique, but also all snowflakes enjoy certain points of convergence and similarity. And
mhm,
therefore you realize that, the creator who creates the snowflake in the UK is the same creator who creates the snowflake in Russia.
mhm,
So ahadiyya and wahidiyya are important because they show us two things. They show us, first of all, that there are no multiple creators. There is not a multiplicity of creators. And
mhm,
secondly, through ahadiyya, it shows that everything is unique, it cannot be the result of copy and paste, right?
mhm, mhm.
Or a photocopier or a conveyor belt.
Yeah.
So no other scholar actually makes this nuanced distinction between ahad and wahid. Unfortunately, no scholar that I know of writing today. And I find that to understand one without the other is impossible. And
Mhm,
just to say that God is one is pretty meaningless, really.
Right.
What do you mean God is one numerically? Do you mean conceptually? Do you mean ontologically?
Mhm.
I think we have to, do a little bit more thinking about it.
Certainly.
It saves us actually from shirk. It
Mhm.
saves us from thinking that things can create themselves. And it saves us from thinking that there was a starting point. And
Yeah.
then when God created the universe, he just left it to its own devices. Unfortunately, in the modern period, in modernity, there has been a tendency away from unity and towards multiplicity and diversity, and also
Mhm.
an atomized way of looking at the universe. In other words, everything is individual, everything is separate, including human beings.
Right.
We study the universe as though it's separate from us. It's a separate object of study because we've lost the ability to see things holistically. This is even obvious in art. Before the 14th century, there was no, what's the word, when you include distance in a picture? Um, is it perspective?
Right.
If you paint something that's far away, there was no sense of perspective in medieval art.
Mhm.
So if you've got like a crowd of people, it looks as though they're all sort of standing directly behind each other rather than at a distance, because back in medieval period,
Mhm.
people didn't see themselves as being separate from the creation. Whereas today we see ourselves as separate, as autonomous individuals. Individualism is also a problem because of this attitude. We don't see things holistically. We don't see the universe as one thing. Universe literally means going towards one.
Mhm.
University, for example, means a place where all of the subjects which are studied are part of one whole, as in, Ustad's idea for Madrasat Zahra. So
Mhm.
what we live in is a multiverse, unfortunately. I mean, we don't live in a multiverse. The idea is ridiculous. We live in a universe. Everything is pointing towards one creator, but we have fragmented it and we have all become specialists rather than, in the old days, a scholar knew all of the sciences, a real scholar. Today, we don't have scholars like that because
Mhm.
we've atomized everything, we've separated everything, we've broken everything down, we've fragmented everything, we've overanalyzed everything, and we've lost the ability to see holistically. And this third passage here is see the universe as one unit. And it's as easy for Allah to create a single atom as it is for him to create the whole of the universe. In exactly the same way, it's as easy for him to create a single blood cell as it is for the whole body, because the whole body is working together. So we don't see holistically anymore.
Mhm.
We see in a linear fashion with our rational intellect rather than our intuitive intellect. And this is our tragedy, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. Great analysis. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, thanks a lot, Khadija. Yeah, really appreciate it. Khadija, do you have anything to say to add on this?
I just wanted to add a couple of things, and Colin, I've already explained a number of things, but
Please.
for the assistant of the unity, that it says that clearly that it is just coming from the first source, meaning that the property of a single being. I'll just give an example. I mean, I think that you heard already before, and that all creatures, if you look at it, let's give an example of a human being, and we
Mhm.
are all almost same, right? Our like eyes are the same place, nose are the same place, ears are all every same place. This is
Mhm.
clearly showing that we are coming from a single factory or the same factory. This is what I feel like. This is Wahidiyat, the assistance of the unity.
Right.
And when you look at it, that if we are just talking about the individual, for instance, Hikmet, myself, my
Mhm.
voice is completely different than others. My
Mhm.
face are completely different than any human being, and my fingerprints are completely different than any human being as well. This is
Mhm.
clearly showing the ahadiyat, meaning that I am completely unique, and this is the manifestation of oneness. Is
Mhm.
just a simple, easy way to explain that this is coming from ahadiyat. And also that I was always giving this example and also hearing this example. For instance, when you think about the sun is just exposing or reflecting that eggplant and make it purple. also that the pepper is just getting that type of sun exposure, and it makes it green. And any plant species, think about it, and then they are getting the same source, and it's just making that themselves the unique. So the source is the same thing. It is sun, and that is just coming from the sun. But each one of them reflects and show us completely different, the name of the divine names, and then different color. And what we were saying, that he assembles the his names and creates like infinite or infinite arts, right? This is just basically that they are coming from one source, that is the oneness, and then just completely each one of the plant species or crop species is just showing that their reflection completely differently. That is the ahadiyat. That's what I was always thinking about. Yeah. And these are some examples that I wanted to give. And then in the first paragraph, I was just going to say, I just thought about the university. Think about it. Let's say we have wherever you go, I mean, all the business or higher education or just the industry and private companies as well. When you go there, that if you talk to somebody, for instance, director, and if director cannot solve the problem, and if he says, "Hey, I'm the director," oh, okay, I want to talk about dean then, who can solve my problem, or if you are students, for instance. And if dean cannot do that, what you can go to vice president and president and everything. So that clearly shows that you have in the human beings structure assemblies, that you have completely different rules and regulations, that you can go from one place to another place, or just people to go from one place to another place. But if you have a single one, and that is just ruling everything, okay, so there's no other person who's going to just make this decision or just helper, then this is clearly showing that the oneness and the same, only one source of that whatever you wanted to solve. That's what I always keep, that the sun is the single source, but we see the reflection completely different in human, animal, plants, and insects, and any other creature. So that I always say that this is something wahidiyat, and then wahdat is just complete human being, and a hadiyat or a hadiyat is just a single person that is completely unique and different than anybody else. These are all I can say right now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, these are great examples. Yeah, appreciate it for the comments and the contribution. Yeah, really enjoyed this. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, there's different perspectives, as you guys mentioned, and just thinking from these different points, and a great explanation of the existence of unity. Great examples, really. And while it's still kind of just fresh, let's continue. So we finished the firstly, right, from the existence of unity, and let's hear again, from Bediüzzaman Said Nursi, what he's going to say about from the facility of unity. Secondly, all right, the facility of unity, which is the second source, that is, matters which occur according to the principles of unity in one center from one hand, according to one law, occur with the greatest ease. If they are distributed among numerous centers, numerous laws, and numerous hands, it engenders difficulties. For example, if the equipment of all the soldiers of an army is manufactured in one center, according to one law, and at the command of one commander-in-chief, it is as easy as equipping one soldier. If, on the other hand, all their equipment is made in different factories, in different centers, then all the military factories necessary to equip an army are necessary to equip one soldier. That is to say, if unity is relied upon, an army is as easy as a single soldier. Whereas if there is no unity, as many difficulties arise in equipping one soldier as in equipping an army. Furthermore, if with regard to unity, the elements necessary for life are given to a tree's fruits, relying on one center, one law, and one root, thousands of fruits are as easy as a single fruit. If, on the other hand, each fruit is bound to a different center, and all their vital necessities are sent to them separately, each fruit will give rise to as many difficulties as the whole tree. For the elements necessary for the life of the whole tree will be necessary for each fruit. Thus, like these two comparisons, and God's is the highest similitude, 1660, because the universe's maker is the single one of unity. He acts with unity, wahdat, and because he acts with unity, all things are as easy as one thing. Moreover, he is able to make a single thing as valuable as all things as regards its art. Moreover, he is able to make a single thing as valuable as all things as regards its art. And creating innumerable individuals in a most valuable form, he demonstrates absolute liberty, absolute liberality through the tongue of the limitless abundance and endless profusion of beings, and he manifests boundless generosity and infinite creativity. The manifestation of oneness, which is the third source. Let's just stop here then. Before we move on, let's finish the secondly, this part, let's go back to facility of unity, and I would like to listen some comments on this before we begin the third one. Kulnajam?
I'm thinking of a garden. If you think of a garden that's full of different trees and flowers and animals, I mean, there's grass, there's soil, there are worms in the soil, maybe frogs, maybe squirrels, lots of different kinds of trees and plants. And when the rain falls, it falls on all of the garden, right? If it's heavy rain, it falls on all of the garden, and everything in the garden uses water, but they all use it in a unique way. So the soil uses it in a unique way. The worms in the soil use it in a unique way. The trees use it in a unique way.
Mhm,
Every flower uses it in a unique way. Now, if you imagine there are like 100 different species of flowers and animals in the garden,
mhm,
if their sources had to be all separate, it would be chaos. So the water is falling from one source. The Rahma, in other words, is coming from the same source. Water is Rahma. And yet, when it reaches one of these species, it works in a different way. So there is this ahadiyah component. And yet it's coming from the same source, which is the wahidiyah. So ahadiyah and wahidiyah again show us that everything that comes from one center
mhm,
occurs with the greatest ease. So you can see physically the rain is coming from one place, it's coming from the sky, but it's
mhm,
falling on numerous things. So this unity within multiplicity should really be telling us, it's very easy. We can all witness this. And so why people think that, there are multiple centers of creation or multiple centers of bestowal and rububiyah, with different, gods and goddesses or different sources or, things self-creating and all taking care of themselves. It's crazy. We don't see that.
mhm,
And our senses don't deceive us. We see the rain falling from one place, from one source, and we see that it's doing many, many different things, even though it's the same simple substance.
mhm,
So, Allah says that His is the greatest similitude. It's very easy to witness these things, but some choose to deny, not because they don't understand it, but because witnessing it means that they would understand that there is
mhm,
only one creator, and that would be a responsibility. So denying the creator is not a matter of intellect, it's a matter of will.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Kunajam, do you have anything to add on this?
Just one example that yesterday I was assigning some courses to faculty members, and I asked one of my faculty members as well to watch it as well, so that you can learn. And I was always the one who was assigning, and she also assigned some as well. And then all of a sudden, it just got messed up everything, so that I have to go back and start from scratch. And this is just a great example. Yeah, if it is coming from like even just one like interference or anything that is interfere with your job or just your goal, it is going to interfere. This is one of the example. And then the other example is that is just the logic really that Ustad is really putting there here as well. We can just get the meaning. If you have more options, if 2 people or 3 people are doing, and from not only one single source or stores, if you have 2 stores and even food as well, that then people are going to get really confused and then they don't know what to do. I mean, I'm just putting the 2 example from just one perspective that who's doing everything by single power and knowing everything. But also looking at the bottom part, let's say as a human being, if there are more sources, and instead of just going to single source and we try to go to different sources, then we will get confused. And yeah, for instance, if you have 2 food options instead of one single one, then you are gonna just get confused. Which one I need to choose if you have to choose only one? This is one of the other things that if you have 2 stores and 5 different shirts that you wanted to wear, that's another thing that for the human being logic as well. But the other one is just everything is just clearly just coming one single source, then everything is easy instead of just messing up everything. Like one class assignment is just simple example, and I just wanted to give this example for you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, great examples. Yeah, just from from our daily life and of course from different points and just to see that every single one of these parts that explained to us, and then these are great examples. I really like it. All right, so now we've finished the Assistance of Unity, Facility of Unity from the gardens and from
Sorry. Salam
Please.
alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Please go ahead.
Very shortly, is it related to this topic, or if it is related to this topic or not? But I thought that it is related. A few sentences I share from the 17th window from the words. I think it can help us in understanding the facility of unity. A few sentences in the beginning I'd like to share. 17th window, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inne fis semavati vel ardı le ayatin lil mu'minin. Indeed, in the heavens and the earth are signs for those who believe. If we observe the face of the earth in the summer, we see that an absolute munificence and liberality which necessitate confusion. And this arrangement is to be seen within a total harmony and order. As far as I understand, I think this is to combine the opposite things. This displays the perfect power. Look at all the plants which adorn the face of the earth, and the utter speed in the creation of things, and the utter speed in the creation of things which necessitates imbalance and disorder is apparent within a perfect equilibrium. Look at all the fruits which decorate the face of the earth. And one more, an absolute multiplicity which necessitates unimportance. Indeed, ugliness is apparent within a perfect beauty of art. Look at all the flowers which gild the face of the earth. In the following sentences, it is said that see the perfect power within the perfect wisdom. And this is coming from Wahdat, as far as I understand. Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you, Anujan. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, that's a great, yeah, just contribution from different parts of Risale Nur, and just to see and yeah, how he explains some of these difficult concepts in different books of the collection. All right, so
Assalamu
from
alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Jazmoja, you have anything to?
Here comes to mind a question.
Please.
What is the difference between the first and the second sources? So the first source is it is the uh, İmdadı Vahidiye, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So İmdadı Vahidiye is the first source, the assistance of unity. This is Wahidi, and the second source is the facility of unity.
Mhm.
I understand, let me share what I understand, and you can, inshallah, correct me.
Please, go ahead.
The first, I understand it is the assistance of unity.
Mhm.
I understand the uluhiyya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one, and everything is under his control, everything is his property. So he is single, and everything he is controlling everything with his uluhiyya. At the second, I understand it is the rububiyyah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's everything is under his rububiyyah and nothing. So from one center, from one law, everything is directed. So it is with perfect ease. It is everything is perfectly provided, done. Can we consider like this, or what comes to your mind? What is the difference between the first and the second sources? The facility of unity or the assistance of unity. One is Imdad Wahidiyya, the other one is Yusru Wahda. Yeah, the Wahidiyya and Wahda, they look like very similar. Maybe one is the attribute of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Wahid. The Wahidiyya is everything is under his control. So through one system, everything is perfectly created, managed. So one is Uluhiyya, the first one, and the second one is Rububiyya. Can we consider like this, Colin Hocam or Hikmet abi? What do you think? Ali
Yeah.
abi, anyone can share, inshallah. Would love to hear your comments. Yes.
Yeah, maybe let's begin with Konlajan. Do you have any comments on Jazmojan's question?
I wasn't quite clear about the first and second source. I mean, the facility of unity. Um, is this an allusion to Ahadiyya or is it the Wahda? Because there are three terms here which are all interplaying with each other.
The first
Um,
one, the first and the second, it looks like Wahidiyya. So one is
yeah.
Wahidiyya, the second one is Wahda. And very close meanings. Wahda and Wahidiyya. Wahidiyya is the attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wahdat is oneness of Allah. Everything is perfectly managed through his tarbiyah. I understand. Wahidiyya, Allah is Wahid. Allah is one. Wahidiyya is his attribute.
Yes.
I understand like that. Yes.
And the Ahadiyya is the unicity or the uniqueness. So
Yeah. In the third one, it will be mentioned the Ahadiyya. Yeah, it is another. Yes, maybe a station.
yeah, I think facility of unity here. I mean, these things are really for us. They're perspectival really, because Allah doesn't actually have a separate Wahidiyya and Ahadiyya and separate Wahda. Allah is Allah. But these are components of his names which are, through tanazulat, through condescension, are put in ways that we can understand so that we can get nuance, right? So that we can understand the finer points of it. So Allah's Ahadiyya and Wahidiyya are actually the same, but we see them as different, we have to, because we are a part of multiplicity. So the facility of unity is Wahidiyya. Everything is going back to the same source. Everything is going back to the same source, and this causes ease. And I think last week, was it last week or was it in a different dance? I can't remember. We talked about certain mysteries, like the mystery of transparency, the mystery of luminosity, the mystery of disengagedness, all of these, different mysteries, the mysteries of Nuraniyat, the mysteries of, I think it was Tajarrud, all of these things. These all allow us to understand how easy it is for Allah, who is beyond matter and beyond time and space and completely transcendent, who, through the similarities that we see and also through the unique things that we see, we know that these are each one is as easy as the other for him. And again, we have everyday examples of this, because our human body is a whole, but it also consists of many different parts, each of which is itself a whole. And we see that the body is nourished at the same time, in the same way that the garden is watered at the same time, with everything receiving water from the same source, and which is easy. That Allah tends to things with such ease, because everything is coming from the same source, but in a unique way for every particular creature. So I think these are things we shouldn't overthink them. We can see them. There are living examples out there. If you distribute all of these things to numerous centers, as Hikmat said, this is why if I'm doing something which I think I'm good at, I can't delegate it because I know it will mess. There will be a mess. If people don't know it the way I know it, or if you've got 10 people in a kitchen and you tell them, go and make me this particular meal, but use your own recipe, and then help each other. I mean, it's chaos. It's crazy. If they're all working from the same recipe and there is a head chef, a head cook, then it will work. So there are many examples, and you can multiply these examples, and find many more.
Yeah, great. Yeah, great comment. And anything to add from our different panelists, Hikmat Hocam,
Yes.
Ali Hocam?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Other friend, if he says I am listening, otherwise I can share it.
Go ahead, Ali Abi, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ali.
Yes, perhaps relate to the Jasmine brother's question. Mysteries of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the second station of the 14th verse, I remembered the first mystery. Perhaps it can help us. Three aspects we can see there, and three aspects here. Yes, they are within the other, but different aspects, as Colin stated, looks to us to know Allah Almighty by looking at the universe. I saw the manifestation of, in the name of Allah, the merciful, the compassionate, as follows: on the face of the universe, the face of the earth, and the face of man are three stamps of dominicality, one within the other, and each showing samples of the others. The first is the great stamp of Godhead, Uluhiyat, which is apparent in the mutual assistance, cooperation, and embracing and corresponding to one another of beings in the totality of the universe. This looks to, in the name of Allah. I am not sure, but the first one perhaps related to this is little, firstly from the assistance of unity, Wahidiyat. The second is the great stamp of divine mercifulness, which is apparent through the mutual resemblance and proportion, order, harmony, favor, and compassion in the disposal, raising, and administration of plants and animals on the face of the earth. This looks to, in the name of Allah the Merciful. Then there is the exalted stamp of divine compassionateness, which is apparent through the subtleties of divine beneficence, fine points of divine clemency, and rays of divine compassion on the face of man's comprehensive nature. This looks to the compassionate in the name of Allah, the merciful, the compassionate. Allah, Rahman, Rahim, perhaps these explanations can help us in trying to understand, firstly, secondly, and thirdly, from the assistance of unity, from the facility of unity, and from the manifestation of oneness. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Hocam. Hikmet Hocam, please.
And I just wanted to, thank you, Alaba. I just explained everything, but clearly just one example. I try to, in the past that I wanted to give the example as well. Wahidiyat is the essence of the unity is just completely sourced and had and uluhiyat. That's clear. We can give an example, the sun. Think about the sun as just an example. And then sun is the wahidiyat, represent the wahidiyat, essence of the unity. But all the reflections and sunlight is just showing that kind of like divine names, wahdat. Everything is coming one source and all action is the same source and everything is same. And that is the wahdat, and this is the rububiyat, meaning the actions. And for it reflect, or it just works for everyone in the universe and earth. And for instance, plants, animals, humans. That's just the wahdat, that's the rububiyat, meaning that the actions. The third one, that the hadiyat, is just, if you think about the single individual, that is just reflecting, or my understanding is just a hadiyat, name, divine names, and then Allah's actions. Meaning that if you think about the sun is going to give us the same sunlight to plants, animals, and humans. And if you think just a human, the sunlight is going to make different colors for orange, and it's same sunlight, same source. Wahidiyat is coming from uluhiyat. That's just the same source. And the wahdat is just whole plant species, animal species, and everything is coming from only, that's the name. That's the rububiyat, and it's just an action coming from the same sunlight, the meaning that the wahidiyat. And each one of the individual, let's say pepper is going to absorb the sunlight completely differently than the animals, or each one of the plant species is going to reflect or absorb that sunlight differently. That means that each one of the wahdat or action and rububiyat coming from wahidiyat from the sun is going to be completely different, or reflection is going to be different in pepper, orange, lemon, eggplant, and kale, broccoli, spinach, and everything. So this is what my understanding was, that in the beginning. If you just think about and narrow down this whole example, if you think about just human being and whatever that we are, let's say, just having as a showing the we are coming from the same source, because when you look at the human being, all human beings are the same, meaning that this eyes are on the same place, nose are on the same place, ear are on the same place, and the functions of each one of them are everything is same.
Yeah.
Let's say nobody's ear is just the talking. So that is clearly showing that it's coming from one source, which is wahidiyat. And then wahdat is just meaning that everybody has getting that source. And ahadiyat, each one of the individual, Kolinabi is different than Hikmet. His fingerprint is going to be different. Ali Abi's fingerprint is different than Hikmet, my fingerprinting. So that is clearly showing that each one of the individual is different. So the uluhiyat and wahdat is just showing each one of the individual completely differently. That is what we call, what I understood is just ahadiyat, or ahad is divine name that is showing that each one of our individual is different. So one is completely just the source. That's what I understood, like uluhiyat, wahidiyat. Wahdat is divine name, meaning that it's just the action that what is happening and it's coming one single source. If it is a totally different source, all human being is, we can just say, completely different. I mean, that, or all plants is going to just be, well, maybe that's not a good example, but ahadiyat is that the single plant or single human being is different than each other within the human being or among the animals. Each one of the animals are different as well, and the plant species as well. Let's say one plant leaf is just if Allah replace it, then it's what we call is the, I don't know how to say that, neither ainin or gair. I mean, it's just a similar, but it's different. For instance, snowflakes that Polinavi gave an example. Each one of them completely different. And I'll give you one example. And one of the German scientists just did some kind of experiment, meaning that for what the water droplets is the same or not. And he found out that each one of the droplets, it is published in Nature 2008. So each one of the droplets, water droplets, are completely different than from one another. So not only cornflakes and droplets are different as well. So this is what I just remember or understand, that, okay, this is ahadiyat is really in action. That's showing the ahadiyat for each one of the droplets. But whole water is just coming from wahdat, and whole water lakes and think about it, fresh water and everything. All of them are almost same, right? But the droplets are different, and it's coming from only single source, wahidiyat. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Understood it. Okay.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Brother John. Yeah, really appreciate it. Oh, guess we're just looking at 10 minutes away from the time. And any other comments from our panelists from
I
Kongo
just
John?
add to what Hikmat was saying about
Please.
ahadiyya. One of the important things about realizing that everything is unique is that it's happening now. So it's not that Allah is not creating, it points to his continuous creation. We can understand that, from kullu yawmin huwa fi sha'n, at every moment there is change and there is transformation and there is creation. So we can't, otherwise we see Allah as absent from the creation. And unfortunately, this is what happened. This is how we became secular. This is how the universe became secularized. Allah was pushed to the sidelines, both from the point of view of, ontologically, and also from the point of view of time. There was a point in time where they say Allah created the earth, and then everything then was given over to itself. But we know this can't be true. We don't live in a photocopy universe. We don't live in a copy and paste universe. And this is important because it shows that Allah is present with every creation at every moment.
Absolutely.
And that also helps us to understand our relationship with Him, that He is shahid of us at every moment. So ahadiyya is not just about being unique. It's about being present as well, and transcendent and immanent at the same time.
Thank you. Yeah, these are great points. And you know what, that just reminded me, and actually I was also, your actual just first comment, Gulnuja, reminded me, and then just like you came back to again, like maybe I was thinking about not reading it now, but we don't have that much of time, and I'd like to take the liberty to share this letter with all of you, and maybe we can read it again from, let's if I can share it. And let's see, and I would like to listen also your comments on this. And this is from Emirdağ Letters. And I believe that most of our brothers, you guys are going to remember this. And I also would like to make a comment, and also with you guys on this. In the name of, and His name be He glorified. May God's peace be upon you and His mercy and blessings. And this is a little kind of just a letter and commenting on what Kolon Hocam at the beginning of this meeting he mentioned, and now again he mentioned it again, and just wanted to just share this with you. At the end of some copies of the Staff of Moses, there is the answer I gave to a question asked by one of our brothers, Küçük Ali, and who is small in name but great in spirit. Read it. For some critics said to him in an effort to belittle the Risale-i-Nur. And he goes, everyone knows God. The common man believes in God, just like the saint. They wished in this way to present the exalted, valuable, and most essential discussions contained in the Risale-i-Nur as superfluous. Now, too, in Istanbul, with a still more sinister intention, some hypocrites of anarchist persuasion who have fallen prey to utter unbelief, which cunningly to deprive everyone of the truths of belief that are contained in the Risale-i-Nur, are as essential to man as bread and water. They say every nation and every individual knows God. We have no great need for new instruction in this matter. Now he explains this part, what Kol Najam drew our attention to it, mechanism in the danger. To know God, however, means to have certain belief in his dominicality, encompassing all beings and in all things, particular to and universal, from the atoms to the stars, being in the grasp of his power, action, and will. It means believing in the truths of the sacred words, there is no God but God, and assenting to them with one's heart. For simply to say God exists, and then to divide his sovereignty among causes and nature and attribute it to them, to recognize causes as sources of authority, as if, God forbid, they were partners to God, to fail to perceive his will and knowledge as present with all things, to refuse to recognize his strict comments, and to reject his attributes and the messengers and prophets he has sent. This has nothing to do with the reality of belief in God. The person who does all this, then says God exists, does so only in order to find some relief from the torment he suffers in the world after his unbelief has made it a hell for him. Not to deny is one thing, to believe is something completely different. No being endowed with consciousness in the whole universe can indeed deny the all-glorious Creator to whom every particle of existence bears witness. Or if he does make such a denial, he will be rebuffed by all of creation and hence become silent and diffident. So and this I guess the letter goes on, and I wanted to share and especially this part, the for simply God's exists, and then of course I'm gonna just keep doing and everything else and giving and almost kind of recognizing the parts of God. I guess it's the point that again Bediüzzaman Said Nursi just makes it a very important point where we were discussing, and I just wanted to share that letter to all of you. And I think just maybe it made a point of where, especially at today's age, and not recognizing, not studying this, and all of a sudden just going into this sort of kind of whatever the trend is, of course, going directly, and the education and in the schools, of course, and all in the society and of course I'm just not, as Kol Najam mentioned, yeah, there is God, so we don't need to study anymore. But then of course, God created the world, and why do I need to keep this reading and studying it and not recognizing everything? So he says there's a danger in there. So, and I guess inshallah just these are the ones that are helping us to recognize them and studying them, and inshallah practicing them all together to avoid that sort of kind of pit hole that may just, of course, come into our way. Yeah. Anyhow, so any last comments before we just call it a day? And I guess we have a couple more minutes, and maybe we can just say a few last words. Kol Najam?
Yeah, thank you for the excerpt. Was it from Emir Dalaksi, huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's very important because it's very easy for us to confuse things. When you were just speaking, then it's very easy for me to describe, I can say, well, Nazif was speaking and he was telling us this and he was telling us that. But actually, for every word that you spoke and every breath that you took, it was being created by Allah. The sounds coming from your mouth, the breath that was helping you to form those sounds, and also my ears and my ability to hear were also being created at that moment by Allah. Now, if I see this as coming from you, and if I see my hearing as coming from me, then I have a problem. Then there is a problem. But if I see that Allah is creating you right now when you're speaking to me, and He's creating my hearing to be able to receive what you're saying, and that there is a point to this and a purpose to this, then it's going to make me think about what you say. It's going to make me realize that if you're talking the truth, then this is a bounty coming directly from Allah. If you're not talking the truth, then there is a hikmah in it, also coming directly from Allah. And it teaches us to see Allah in all things, Allah's wajh is everywhere. Wajhullah is everywhere. So if we don't do this, then we absent ourselves from Allah. We see Him as absent. And we do it as Muslims all the time, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, sir.
So that was a great, it was a great addition. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, sir. Yeah, come. Hikmet Hocam?
I couldn't open that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's. I don't need to add anything. I guess that this is clear. Yeah, but just wanted to mention that just some of the examples, just giving that example is just not something whole comprehending whole divine names or rububiyat, ahadiyat, wahidiyat.
Mhm.
Maybe that I was just giving one example that is just covering some simple or in order to make me understand some part of the Hadiyat. Because when we were talking about the Hadiyat, we can understand that, remember that in different Risala is that this divine name was seen or the meaning was seen in different names as well. So when we are talking about the Wahidiyat, Wahdat and Ahad, I mean, we can understand some small parts in order to understand or differentiate for context, but it also embraces a number of other names as well. So I totally agree with what Colin Abi said, and also that Emir like I was saying that, I mean, that is clear that Ahadiyat is just not simply that uniqueness of the Allah or the actions. It embraced a number of other names as well. When I look at the Ahadiyat, for instance, I can see that the number of other names, divine names, that in anything that human, animals, plants, or a whole universe. Yeah, if that is completely true. And yeah, in order to just clear and simplify, and based on the understanding that I just gave one example to just, but that doesn't mean that the simplifying or just simplifying the divine names. I hope that I'm clear right now. That is just a little bit more clear.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, this is this is an important kind of lesson for all of us to understand, like, deeply, and more. The more the examples, and the more, of course, just the better it is. One last, maybe just words from Ali Hocam. Anything to add?
Inshallah, the more we read, inshallah, the more we understand together, inshallah, with the mercy of Allah. Yes.
Yes, inshallah. So while we have you here, so maybe you can make the just the one recite something from Quran, and inshallah we can call it an end.
Yes.
Please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق الله العظيم. Glory be unto you. We have no knowledge save that which you have taught us. Indeed, you are all-knowing, all-wise. O Allah, grant us understanding of the mysteries of the Quran as you love and is pleasing to you, and grant us success in the service of it. Amin. Through your mercy, O most merciful of the merciful. O Allah, grant blessings and peace to the one to whom the all-wise Quran was revealed, and to all his family and companions. Lillahi Ta'ala al-Fatiha.